Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Come waste your time with us. I am one of your lovely hosts, John. With me today, as always, is Joe
Extra lovely.
and Travis.
Southside.
uh,
Welcome
Missed
back,
you guys.
everybody's faces. Yes, the weekly miss.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Uh, Not too bad. Um, yeah, the usual everyday, day-to-day stuff.
I'm sick as shit right now, so this is about to be an interesting podcast.
I can hear a little scratchiness to your voice there. You got a touch of the flu or chest cold or
I don't know what the hell this is. This is dirty in-laws is what this is. This is whenever your old lady's family like just poops and doesn't wash their hands. They just poop in a Kleenex and throw it in the toilet.
Uh,
It kind of sounds like you've been shouting at the dog for like 3 days straight.
Yeah, I wish I got something out of the deal. It's just nothing but hey, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, that's no good. That is the bad thing about this time of year. Weather change. Everybody's going to start getting sick and passing it around, and not looking forward to that. I already got a little bit of some stuffiness myself, but nothing too bad. Nothing that's going to make my day to day go by any slower.
That's how it always starts. It's gonna get you.
Yep. Travis is going to infect us over the airwaves.
Yeah, I say maybe I'll
install your antivirus.
Maybe I'll get lucky again this year and not get sick. Fingers crossed.
I haven't actually gotten like the flu in a few years. I've gotten, like normal head cold, chest cold type stuff, but I haven't gotten like feverish, body aches, throwing up, and
yeah, same.
Yeah, and probably 3 years.
It's been quite a while for me as well. Usually when I get sick, it's around the springtime when the cold weather goes away and it starts to warm up. That's usually when I start to get sick.
Yeah, and that's the worst time because it's starting to get warm and you're like, yeah, go outside. And then, no, don't want to be outside anymore because I'm sick. This sucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to go lay down.
You just feel the worst.
Yeah.
Medicine never seems to do anything either.
Oh, no. It just tastes like butt. And I mean, the only thing that really works is sleeping it off. That's what I like to do. Take some NyQuil and just sleep until I wake up feeling better.
Yep. Wrap yourself in every blanket that you have and try to sweat it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my remedy.
Have some tissues stuffed up your nose. Non-stop.
Yeah, never done that, but that seems like it would be more uncomfortable than just dealing with the stuffy nose, or the runny nose.
It works pretty well, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, never tamponed my noses. My nostrils.
Nostrils.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, how was your guys' week? Last week? This week?
Right. It was good. It was wasn't bad. It's pretty slow work. I started my vacation on Monday. I'm looking forward to that. Like 12 days off. Hey yo.
Now, why did you take that vacation this time of year? This certain particular week?
Because Borderlands 3 comes out on Friday, September 13th.
Yes, you did. And it's going to be good.
Yes. Yeah. Not the first time I have taken some vacation for a video game, and probably not the last either.
I mean, it's the best reason to take vacation.
Yeah, who hasn't done that?
I agree.
Screw traveling. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to Disneyland. I want to stay at home and play video games. Yeah, like when you do stuff on your day off, it still does not feel like you had the day off. At least to me, it doesn't. Like, I don't like planning stuff on my days off.
it's adulting that doesn't
Yeah,
seem like you have a day off. Yeah, like if
I
you have to
Yeah.
go do a bank run and grocery shopping and bills and all that, that's when you're like, okay, yeah, this doesn't feel like a day off. I might as well be at work right now.
not even just that, just even hanging out with friends. It's like I feel like I should be getting paid for this.
Fuck you, Joe. That's why you didn't come yesterday.
No, I am very sorry that I missed that. I wanted to come. I could not get a babysitter, and I was not comfortable leaving the kids here by themselves overnight. Um, I mean, yeah, they're technically old enough, but they would have been asleep, and heaven forbid, had something happened, it would have been on the night that I left them home alone, and then I'd feel like the worst father ever. So,
Mhm.
no, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. For
Well, next time
reference,
we'll have a paycheck.
I say next time, yeah, we'll just pay you, I guess. I mean,
I mean, at least if I'm making money, there's a good reason for it. I was working. I had to. I had to leave.
too
I feel like
funny.
less of a terrible father.
For reference, we had a birthday party for a buddy of ours. To everybody listening.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Cam, happy belated birthday. I'm sorry I missed your party, bud. I love you though.
We're definitely gonna have to get him on here as a guest sometime soon.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Introduce the world to Cam.
Oh god.
The infamous.
That could be a good or a bad thing, but
Right, yeah. It is Cam, so it could go, It's gonna go how it's gonna go.
Cam.
So, what are you looking forward to most on Borderlands 3? Just a new story? Are you looking forward to the new characters and new game mechanics?
So I
What's
mean,
what's what's really turning you on about it?
everything. Just the new Borderlands in general. I mean, you put a million hours into the other three, and eventually you get to the point, like any other video game, where you lose, like, it just loses its luster, I guess. So yeah, it's a whole new game. They didn't really change a lot for this third one, which was a ballsy move by them, but I think was perfect. Because I don't
Yeah,
like
I
the
don't.
companies that they'll release a sequel or whatever, and they change it too much. Like, give me what I loved about the originals. Of course, you're gonna update and upgrade some things to make it more now, but you don't have to change the formula that much for a sequel just to get people to like it. Like, we like what we like about Borderlands, and that's what the third one is about, from what I've been seeing. And yeah, perfect.
True. Yeah, you definitely don't have to change a whole lot between games. Just because it's a sequel doesn't mean you have to go balls to the wall. You can,
Hmm.
you can do some slight updates. um, they've really done that with all the Borderlands. Borderlands 1 probably playing the most simple, as far as mechanics go, and then they increased a little bit with Borderlands 2, and then I think they flipped the script with the pre-sequel. They added a lot of new stuff, like the moon jumping, the zero grav jumping, and the butt slam and stuff like that. It really changed the way the game was played.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for more of a Borderlands 2 experience, but just slightly more updated.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like from everything that I've seen. I personally, of course, didn't mind the butt slamming and the anti-gravity in the pre-sequel, but yeah, I definitely like what they have done with everything.
I still haven't finished the pre-sequel. I don't know what it is about that one, but it just does not hold me like Borderlands 2 does. There's just something about Borderlands 2 that just kept me sucked into it, and it really made me actually like the Borderlands franchise. Truth be told, I didn't get to play a whole lot of the first one. My very first experience playing it wasn't a very good one, so I never returned to it to try to, complete it 100%. But
Yeah.
Borderlands 2, yeah, I played that game forever and enjoyed every minute of it.
Yep. Travis, this will be your first introduction into the series.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot I could add to that because really tinkered around with it too much. So it'd be a whole new experience. But I mean, watching you guys play it, hey, any game that spits Skittles and you get to just demolish everything in your path, I'm about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very rewarding experience after you take down a boss and it just keeps spitting a fountain of different colored weapons.
Yep. Raining
And
those Skittles on your face. That's
yeah,
so satisfying.
and they increased it with 3, didn't they? Aren't
Yeah.
they increasing the amount that drops for boss kills?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then the more people you have in your game, of course, the more loot that drops as well. And they have the option now to where you don't have that one guy who just hoovers up every weapon. It's you can turn that mode back on, of course. But they added a feature to where everyone gets their own loot.
I like
So that's
that.
good.
Yeah, I like that. You don't have to worry about sharing loot or anything. I love any co-op game that gives you your own personal loot because it completely takes arguing over who's getting what out of the equation, and that can bog the game down. Like, okay, who is running what class, what weapon or shield is better for who? Let's sit here for 20 minutes and figure this out before we go on to the next story. Yeah, it does kind of slow things down a bit, can make the experience feel just drawn out.
Yeah.
And Borderlands is a game that is fast paced in its story too. Like it's not one you really want to bog down too much with setting up your character, because you want to stick with that story and find out what's going to happen next. And I really hope that the new villains are as good as what Handsome Jack was.
Yeah. Nah, he was like the perfect boss or villain, I guess, in the game, in any game. Yeah, they did an awesome job with him. So we'll see how they stack up.
He was an interesting villain too, in the fact that he actually thought he was the hero. Like, he thought he was the good guy, and you kind of agree with what he was saying, what he was trying to do, honestly. It's not that he was inherently wrong, just how he went about it was kind of dickish.
Right, he was like the Hitler, but in a video game universe.
Yeah, kind of like the Dark Knight's Joker. He's not necessarily wrong.
It's just the way you went about everything.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have tried to blow up the boat or have us blow up the boat. That's just went a little too far.
Yeah, that's good.
So, Oh no, you go ahead. Yeah, you had a couple of questions.
So
question asked too. You talked about earlier.
Ran across a few things earlier today, kind of changing the pace up a little bit from video games. With the first question, anyways. So the Summer Olympics are going to be in Tokyo next year, and things between South Korea and Japan have been kind of shaky for a while, and the Japan has 2 flags. Not too many people know about that, I guess, but they have their regular, the white flag with the red dot, the rising sun, and then they have their other, I guess you could call like militarized flag. I guess it's the same flag, but it has the 16 red rays that come off.
Right.
Yeah, like the bonsai flag.
Yeah. And South Korea wants them to remove that flag for the Olympics because of what it represents, essentially. Like, people would say that it's kind of like our Confederate flag, and Japan's like, we're not getting rid of that flag, it's our flag. So that's been a huge thing. That's been a big ordeal recently.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that. No, I'm not like super political. That is weird that they want to try to force them to change it. Like, I guess I don't see that flag as their Confederate type flag. I guess I never knew if it had any kind of negative history tied to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the Confederate flag does. Does it? I mean, like I'm generally asking, does it actually have negative things tied to it?
Well, if then I guess you have to think about does the Confederate flag have negative connotations around it?
I mean, yeah, it does.
How?
Well,
You're about to enter Pain Town.
yeah. I mean, just given what the South was representing and that
What are
flag
they representing?
representing the South, like they wanted to keep the slaves. They wanted actually, I mean, that's all I've ever learned about. Like the South wanted slaves, North didn't.
So,
And that was it. That's all I ever really got from it.
and see, this is part of why South Korea doesn't like that flag, is because we're taught these things, and history just gets it gets rewritten essentially, and parts of it that don't fit the today's agenda
Right.
are taken out. I mean, what is one country's opinion on it? Now, if it was like 90% of the Olympic community was like, hey, you know, that ain't cool, that would be something to bring to the table. But one country's influence, and then everybody's like, yeah, that's stupid. Take it off. You know, you can't rock that.
Mm.
I mean, how many times did the USSR go to the Olympics with the hammer and sickle?
Yeah.
Right.
So
True.
why now the country that dare not even do anything like that because they're too afraid to get another bomb dropped on them?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
But
see, I don't think it's up to any of us to say because we're not from that country. Like, telling one country telling another country how they should
yeah,
represent themselves.
It's like it's a
You know.
wartime flag for them,
Right.
essentially, and that's like
But
kind of
like,
sort of the connotations that they have with it. Where it did kind of affect us. I mean, considering World War II and what happened, but
right. But
again, I don't think that they should have to remove that flag during the Olympics because
no.
their argument is that the Olympics are for peace and the world coming together as one. Like technically, if there's a war going on when the Olympics are happening, the war is supposed to stop
yep.
during the
Right.
Olympics. Not saying that it always does, but that's the idea is for the
Well,
Olympics.
maybe the Japanese are looking at it like this: the Olympics are a competition as a form of war, so they want to wear their war flag out there to show that they mean business.
Sure.
Yeah, and I mean that it's not like they're out to actually like cause harm in that. They're just showing determination to do the best that they can.
Yeah,
At least that's what I get from it.
I
You
don't
know, like
believe that the Japanese are like purposefully, leaving that flag in there because they have any ill intent behind having that flag up. That I don't think that that's the case at all. I think that's just their flag, so they're gonna. Why shouldn't they?
yeah, and they always have. How many Olympics have they been a part of? And they've always used that flag, right?
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah, like why are they trying to get them to change it now? That just
It,
seems so stupid to me. You know, like pointless.
if it's today's agenda on who's hurt and whose feelings are hurt,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it'd be something totally different if Germany's like, yeah, we're flying the fucking Nazi flag.
yeah,
Yeah. I think somebody mentioned that too about that flag, like comparing it to the swastika and stuff. Like, come on.
yeah. I don't get that. When I see that flag, I don't
Well, that's
have
speaking of
any
that.
kind of.
Actually, there's another thing. The swastika is actually a symbol for shrines in the Buddhism religion or
Yeah,
beliefs. The Buddhist beliefs is the symbol for shrines, and Japan is actually changing a lot of their symbols in the city to accommodate tourists who come to Tokyo during the Olympics next year. Just so that they're easier to read, essentially. And that symbol was one of the symbols that people are trying to get them to change. And it's one of those things where I don't think they should, because that's a symbol that has been a part of their culture
Yeah,
forever, and
yeah,
they don't see it as what, say, like Hitler used it for, and I don't
right.
see a problem with them keeping that symbol at all.
Well, like the Nazis changed it a little bit too, didn't they? Like, doesn't the Nazi one is like crooked, more of an X at the center, whereas the Buddhist it's like a plus sign,
Yeah, it's
more up like straight.
yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's still it's just the, unfortunately, it's the image of what Hitler did with that symbol that people are not liking. But I don't think they should change it, because it's a part of their culture and their beliefs.
Yeah, so going back to the whole bringing us together in peace with the Olympics, maybe that would be a good time for people that are uneducated and get offended by stupid things like that to be like, why do they have that? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, and I mean, and a smart person would, like actually read into it, learn about other people's cultures. That was the purpose of the Olympics, to bring everybody together, and so one culture can learn about another culture. It's supposed to be all friendly and respect and all that stuff. Like,
right, going back to ancient Greece, where the first Olympics happened.
right. So, I mean, people obviously forget as time passes.
Yeah.
Like, agendas change, people's minds change, what's important to them when they're younger changes when they get older, like, it's weird. Like, time and growth are just completely odd things, the way they make your mind work.
Yeah. It's 2019. There's been so much that has happened in time.
I mean, even just in your individual journey, like, I've gone through a lot of different things and phases in my life, like, and looking back on them, it's like, I was an idiot. I would hate my younger self if I met, me.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
And you have to live through that ignorance in order to learn. Like, ignorance is absence of knowledge, so you have to gain knowledge.
Right. Yeah. Well, so moving on to a lighter note, also involving the Olympics and going back to video games. The last Summer Olympics, they tried to get video games, esports, to be a part of the Olympics. And the Olympic Committee, stopped that from happening, essentially. Well, they're slowly but surely getting that, making that become a reality. And esports teamed up with Intel to have a tournament that's going to happen. It's actually going to precede the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Like, literally, the tournament's going to happen, and then as soon as it's over, the Olympics are going to start. The opening ceremony will start. So
That's
slowly but
awesome.
surely, they're getting ready, or they're trying to add that. The argument for the other side is that it's not physical, plus, a lot of the video games that have tournaments in the esports do have to do with violence, so talking about like esports now, the sports games, I think, would probably have a better chance in the beginning anyways to be a part of the Olympics, before like shooters would be able to be a part of the Olympics. But that's progress, in my opinion. So
I mean, I don't see why they're focusing so much on the violent aspect. Like, most of the Summer Olympic competitions were rooted in warfare. Like the javelin throw, you're throwing a giant spear.
Or wrestling.
Wrestling.
The Olympics wrestling, that's a full contact sport. You could kill somebody in wrestling.
Yeah.
Fencing, it's still sword fighting.
Yeah.
There's respect that comes along with it. It's not like you're actually trying to cleave your opponent's head off or actually run them through with your sword, but
right.
it's still just a
Yeah, it's a
dumb
sport.
town.
It's
Yeah.
the sport of that
So
particular sport.
yeah, like they shouldn't be focusing so much on the violence aspect. Like if a shooters are some of the top multiplayer tournament type games out there. I mean, what is it? The League of Legends, is that still like the number one league game
Yeah,
out there?
I think it's one of the top.
Yeah, and
Dota.
Call of Duty is definitely up there too.
Yeah, Overwatch. A lot of those games.
Yeah, all of which deal with some form of combat.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not like they're actually out there hurting people. I wish this whole promoting violence in video games, make people evil thing would go away. But yeah, just let them play some Halo or some Call of Duty. I don't want to see them playing a sports game. I don't want to see a Madden tournament or something like that.
Yeah, what's kind of the point of that? Like,
yeah, like I could just watch the Super Bowl.
yeah,
I'm not gonna watch somebody else playing a sports game.
Well, they
when I can
have
just watch the sport.
they have basketball in the Olympics anyways, but again, I guess I would have to disagree with you guys. I'm not necessarily that I would watch them, of course, because I'm not a big sports fan, but I think that they should be allowed in there also because that's still video games. You know, it still has its fan base. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be in there. You know.
what I think Joe's trying to say is, how is sports getting in before a first person shooter?
Oh, right.
Why would a sports video game be put in to actual athletes that train for their whole lives, not some sweaty fat kid that puts on a jersey and works his thumbs?
All right.
Yeah, like
Got you.
if you are gonna put video games into the type of video game that is not already an Olympic sport of some kind.
Mm.
You know, like it needs to be a shooter, it needs to be a MOBA, an MMO, whatever.
Fuck, he even started off
That
like
type of game.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That'd be some good level ground right there. Let's get Mortal Kombat into the Olympics.
Yeah, like the two games that are going to be included in that tournament before the Olympics, the Intel tournament, is Street Fighter 6, whatever the newest Street Fighter game is, and Rocket League. And the reason that they picked those is because viewers who don't really know video games, they can watch those games and understand what's going on while watching them, was their justification for that.
That kind of makes sense with Rocket League, though, because it's cars and sports at the same time. I guess I can kind of see it's got a really big fandom. And Street Fighter, there we go. There's our Mortal Kombat. But I'm not gonna watch fucking FIFA. Nobody likes fucking FIFA here, dude.
Yeah, like the midnight releases that I would work, I used to store midnight releases for FIFA. There'd be like 10 people.
Yeah,
all four show up.
Yeah, soccer's definitely not that big in America for sure. It's huge all like everywhere else in the world, but in America, it's definitely not a big sport for sure.
And like me personally, I'm just not a sports. If we get video games in the Olympics, I might actually start following the Olympics.
Right. I've always liked the Olympics. I like the Summer Olympics better than the Winter Olympics personally, but I've watched them since I was a kid. I enjoy them anyways. I like the idea of the Olympics and what the Olympics represent, and it's fun watching. I think the countries compete and stuff. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, like I respect it. It's cool, but I just don't want to watch it. I'm just not into sports, and I tried watching the Olympics when I was a kid because I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Like
Right.
the Olympics is going on, the entire world is watching, but I just can't get into it. Like sports are boring. They are just so boring, and I just can't watch them. But do what you do. That's awesome. Like bring the world together, compete, you know, brotherly love, all that good stuff. That's awesome. I just don't want to watch it. Tell me about it later.
So, hey, I got a question kind of pinning back to what we were talking about earlier. What do you guys think about video games that take historical references out because it'll trigger someone? So, like when Call of Duty did World War II and took the Nazi flag out of the game, like totally.
Oh, yeah. It's not like you're promoting the Nazis by having their flag in there. You know, if you're trying to be historically accurate and you're doing a video game where it's American soldiers versus Nazi soldiers, the Nazis should have a swastika. That's what they represented. That was
Yeah, it's historical, whether it's fictional or not. It's still historical, and in a lot of these developers nowadays, when they're doing sort of time pieces, set pieces like that, some of it is actually historically accurate. You know, they work their story around those things, their fictional story around those things, but it's still historically accurate. That's just people being upset for no reason because they feel entitled or whatever. Yeah, I don't think they should take that out or have to take that out. It is a form, a medium of entertainment, and that goes with the freedom of speech. So why should it be taken out?
Yeah, that, and you kind of take away from the scariness of the Nazis if you start stripping stuff away from them like that, because people don't want to see it. You know, just a couple of people don't want to see the swastika. That was a part of their uniform, a part of their mythos, you know, like when you think Nazi, that's the first thing that pops into your head is that that damn swastika. So if you take that out, you're taking the scary, you're just fluffing them up. You're taking fear away from the bad guy and making them not as bad of a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's like taking the claws off and then saying that you have to run from him. Like, why? He doesn't have any claws.
Yeah.
You know, like he's just, what is he going to tickle me to death? Like,
ooh,
the tickle monster.
Random fun fact: the Nazi Party actually stood for National Socialist Workers Party.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even about all the craziness that he made it about. It's, if we take stuff out of video games like that, and we take historical. I mean, what's next? We take out the Lincoln Memorial out of another game because somebody was pissed about Lincoln.
Right.
You almost have a responsibility to put these things into these games, because think about how much time kids is spending on them. Like when they learn about this stuff in school, they're not paying attention, you know, like,
or they're getting taught wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but if you actually put the historically accurate stuff in movies and video games that these kids actually watch, they are learning something about our history whilst playing and having a good time. You know, like if you take this stuff away, you are completely skewing a child's view on history.
Yeah.
They start looking at things completely different than what they actually were.
They don't teach you the historically accurate. They teach you what they need to in high school, and then you get to college, and that's where you learn it's essentially everything all over again. You're like, oh, hey, this isn't at all what I was taught in high school.
Yeah, like
welcome to the
going back to the Civil War. It wasn't even about slavery. The only reason that it became quote unquote about slavery was because the South was going to get help from the UK, and when Abe Lincoln did his little speech and made it a holy war about slavery, like this was towards the end of the war. It wasn't even at the beginning. UK's like, hey, South, can't help you, man. We just got over slavery out of our own country, so no help there. And that just sucks that you ask any type of person, oh yeah, it's about slavery. and it goes even further. It goes into like what we're dealing with today, getting swastikas taken out of World War II games.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ridiculous.
Then people get their flags removed while they're trying to go to the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah, people need to stop being so easily offended, and people need to stop catering to other people who get offended. Just because they got offended by something doesn't mean that the world is over. You know, their life isn't over. Life still goes on. Just because you got offended by something doesn't mean that you're going to die. It doesn't mean that the world's going to end. Like, stop letting being offended by tiny little things ruin your entire day.
But we've kind of done that to ourselves as a society. I mean, how many times in school did you hear don't bully someone, don't bully someone? And in society, you almost need those bullies. You need that kid that picked on you so that way that whenever you go to work and your boss yells at you, you just don't melt and say, "Oh my God, my life's over."
I don't know. This is random as hell. It made me think of this, but it's like when you're a kid and you go outside and parents keep their kids from, doing certain things. Like if you're raising your child to be a vegan as well, children need meat and protein, ladies and gentlemen. Stop making your children vegans. Let them go outside and eat dirt and build their immune system so that when they become an adult, they're not sickly and dying every 5 seconds.
No, actually, keep doing it because you guys will stop reproducing.
I'm all right with that. Yeah,
there's that as well. Yes.
I second that.
Quit. I mean, quit taking our antibiotics. Quit getting all the stuff that we take to further our lives. You guys just do your hippie shit, and we'll see you in the morgue.
All right. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a believer in do what you do. You know, like do whatever you're gonna do as long as you're not gonna hurt anybody. If you want to be a vegan or a vegetarian or any of that, that's fine. Be it, but don't act like you're better than me because of it.
Right.
You know, that's what starts to sicken me about people and their, isms, their agendas. Choose to live like they want to push it on somebody else. Maybe they're not as happy with their own decision to live that way, so they got to try to force somebody else to come along with them to make them feel better about it. I don't know.
But we've gotten to that point to where it's no longer like, do what you got to do, go sit in your corner, throw your tantrum. They're like in your face, and if you eat fucking meat, I'm gonna stab you to death because that's what you're doing to that cow.
Right.
Wow. It's almost, it sucks, but we almost got to shut these certain people down before they become too big of a problem to where it's like this. Now, I mean, you can't go out, and I wore my favorite shirt. It's the Ronald Reagan shirt. It says "I smell hippies." It's my favorite shirt of all time. I don't know how many like bad looks I get just from wearing a shirt with a president that we had, and it says "I smell hippies." I might as well be wearing Hitler's face and it says Mein Kampf underneath.
All right.
Yeah.
God, it's 2019. You would think society would be progressing forward and for the better. Unfortunately, we are digressing as a nation, in a world as a whole, and it's sad.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me. That's why I don't know. I stay away from the news. I don't have cable, so I don't follow anything. Like I don't like advertising, and that's all is advertising. And I don't really care for social media anymore because it just seems like you can't tell what's true and what's not. And a lot of it seems to be just fuel for a potential fight.
Ridiculous. I'm making that a soundbite.
Yes, exactly.
I hit it every time.
So I just choose not to take part in it. I'm happy in my little world where I just play video games and read comics and watch movies and
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
at this point in society, though, Joe, I mean, you could wake up tomorrow and they banned all video games.
Yeah.
We're real close to getting all of our e-cigs banned.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Flavored. Yeah, I saw that earlier today. They're trying to ban flavors for vapes.
Why? Why?
Because the tobacco industry is tanking.
I mean, just let go of tobacco and jump on the vape. Companies have switched products before. Like
I'm kind of surprised actually the major tobacco industries haven't hopped on the vape bandwagon.
It's because they're a bunch of old dudes that are afraid of change. They probably look at it as a trend that's just going to go away.
Like loot boxes.
Yeah, oof.
Loot boxes were cool. They're just too expensive.
No, I mean they're dying out though.
Yeah,
Loot crate
I like
gone.
I like the idea of them. Like getting a new crate every month with some cool stuff. But the bad thing is the shirts that they would carry. I never got the same size twice. Like they were all 2X, but each 2X fit differently. I had a 2X that fit like a medium one time. So they totally ordered that from Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Because Asian sizing is
smaller.
so different from American sizing. But yeah, like I have an Optimus. I don't want to get rid of it because it's a shirt, but I can't wear it. I'm too fat. Or the shirt's too small, or some combination.
Something in between.
Yeah, I do. My Goonies shirt still fits though, and I actually do love that shirt. The red Goonies Never Say Die shirt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Any Loot Crate subscribers out there will know what. I'm pretty sure everybody gets the same shirt.
GameStop, going along with collectibles, they bought Think Geek, and they're becoming more of a collectible store instead of dealing with video games as much.
Right.
They're looking to close 200 of their underperforming stores here in the coming future, and they've already laid off a whole bunch of employees, like upper management. The entirety of the Game Informer crew has been laid off through them as well. And they're just becoming physical Think Geek stores, essentially, mostly focusing on collectibles now. I think that's a good route for GameStop to be taking, considering how the digital market is exploding. I mean, why would you need to get out and go buy a physical copy when you can just sit on your butt at home and download the game from your couch? A lot of people still do like collecting that and having that physical object, in their hands for them to hold and stuff. And you, of course, can still order those, but again, you can order those and have them mailed to your house now too. So yeah, true. I personally think that's a good direction for GameStop to be going. As much flack as they got for their games anyways. So
yeah, I mean, their physical sales was basically their entire business model early on. They pull copies of games, trade value, and the trade value is always in the benefit of GameStop, not of the customer. Because the customer got dick. Customer still gets dick, and GameStop turns around and jacks that price up to dick and balls, and then they turn around and give that another customer.
Right.
The trader gets the buyer gets the dick and ball.
Yeah, Joe and I both worked at GameStop in the past. We know how these things go. Insider secrets.
Yes. But yeah, if they want to start making money, that's what they have to do, is get on some kind of physical medium, like collectibles. And it's a good one to get into. Those are there's always going to be people out there that like collectibles for their favorite game or movie, whatever. I never have enough collectibles. I want my house to be covered in all of the things I love, you know. So I don't know that I would be there that often, though. Hopefully, they don't close too many stores, because that could end up being, you know, your price has to your consumer as well. So some of the items that they have in there currently, I feel, are overpriced. Like there's some statues in there, characters from different movies and video games that they want to charge like $80 and $200 for. And I feel that's way too high for a little statue that's just going to sit on my shelf.
All right.
I do find myself, when I go into GameStop now, I'm not there accessory. I'm there to look at collectibles. You know, I think that they will always at least need to sell systems and accessories, because, you know, if your controller breaks down, you can just run to GameStop real quick, get a new one. But as games, yeah, there's no point in buying physical games. Every console is download now, and yeah, that's what people want. I was hesitant. I download, you know, digital doesn't really turn me on, but I have completely turned around on that. I do prefer digital now. It's more convenient. It is nice looking at your game collection, and you have to install the physical copies of the games anyway, so it's not like you're playing the game any faster than your friends. You know, you still have to install it once you buy it.
All right.
Yeah.
Once you put the disc in, you got to wait for an hour for it to install. So may as well cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Make more room on my game shelf for collectibles.
There you go. Well, that was all the questions I had. So.
Oh, right on. Well, I hope you all had fun wasting time with us, and look forward to wasting more time with you in the future.
Yes. Thanks for listening, everybody. Leave a like, share, subscribe, ding dong that bell, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Peace.